Okay, so this is our 5th class, huh? Or 6th?
It's the 7th.
Okay, let's call it 6 only. So today is our 6th class, and well, in our previous class we had started this slide, and today inshallah we'll be finishing this one. Okay, so let's have a quick recap on our previous class. So previous class we were talking about basically applied linguistics in language teaching. Okay, and then we already have written these things, we already know that, and definition and scope. Definition is from here and the scope are these. Okay, so we guys already know those things. And yes sir, 17? 7th, okay, 7th. So we already know these things, we already have written those things in the classroom also. So then there's nothing more to explain today. Language education, lexicography, translation and interpretation, language policy and planning, we already have talked about these things. Okay, most importantly here, the second language acquisition. Well, you guys know more, very much about second language acquisition and those theories. Okay, so applied linguistics and theoretical linguistics. Well, here we talked about the difference between applied linguistics and theoretical linguistics in the previous class, and that's very important for you to understand that theoretical linguistics investigates the abstract structure of language, phonology, morphology, syntax, abstract structures, okay? And then applied linguistics basically talking about what? Applied linguistics talks about how those structures could be amalgamated, could be evaluated, could be dealt with in the context of real world situation under the light of education, health, society, whatever. Okay, these things. Okay, for example, while theoretical linguistics may analyze, hey, pause. Okay, so for example, while theoretical linguists may analyze how passives are formed in English, passive means active voice, passive voice, and applied linguists examine how to best teach passives to learners from different L1 backgrounds, possibly using constructive analysis. That means theoretical linguists basically introduce theories, and then applied linguistics, based on those theories, applied linguistics basically do one work, that how they basically try to find out the ways of how we should implement those theories in the real world situation. So that's the basic difference between applied linguistics and theoretical linguistics. If I want to make the question hard, then this could be in your question paper, because yes, definitely it should not be in the broad question section, but definitely should be in the short question section, because this thing is not very easy. This thing is very, it's a tricky one. I should not call it a hard question, but I should call it a tricky question. Yeah, maybe. Okay, so please be prepared for anything, any uncertainty. Okay, key areas in language teaching, we already have talked about that, so I think there's nothing to talk now in this section. Well, the role of grammar in language teaching, we already have talked about that also. So grammar is very important. Grammar is very, very important for us in the second language acquisition. Well, because how could we know? Well, it is our second language, and we are learning that. We are not acquiring that, just our first language, aka our mother tongue. So we are basically learning that. So how could we know the syntax, the structures of that particular language? Via grammar, definitely. So thus we should have been indulged in the grammatical sections of that particular target language. Is that clear, everyone? We have to learn, in short, we have to learn. If we want to learn one particular language, we have to know the grammatical structures of that particular language, definitely. Otherwise, we will be talking grammatically wrong sentences, okay? And definitely influenced by our L1, most of the cases. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes.
Okay. Vocabulary acquisition, well, that's the last slide we actually ended up in the previous class. Am I right?
No, sir. For teacher and for also.
Oh, so that's the second last slide, definitely. Thank you, Shadni. So that's the second last slide we have covered in the previous class. Vocabulary acquisition is one of the most important part. Everyone, vocabulary acquisition is one of the most important part of language acquisition or language learning. Definitely, if you do not know enough vocabulary, you can never talk, you can never write, you can never understand what other people are talking about on that particular target language. Am I clear? Yes, sir. Okay, thank you. So, word frequency, vocabulary teaching is informed by researchers as word frequency. That means how frequently you can use one or particular sets of words, we should say. So, emphasizing high utility words first. That means the basic words first. The basic words first, then the intermediate level words, and then the higher level words. Yeah, advanced level words. Thank you. So, this is word frequency. First, we have to learn the basic words. In Japanese, we should learn moshi moshi, konnichiwa, arigato, those things. Definitely. Okay, and then, how are you doing today? And then maybe those, higher kind of words, advanced words. Could you say some advanced words in Japanese? Come on. Hey, say some advanced words. Apart from I eat rice, arigato, and those konnichiwa. Sensei. Kodishiwa. Tabadai this. Tabadai this. What does that mean? Tabadai this. Hey.
I eat omurice means it's a Japanese.
A bowl of rice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to eat rice, omurice.
Oh, so see, it's a fully fledged sentence. So, see, it's not basically we should call it an advanced level, but definitely not in the very basic level. It's in intermediate level, we could say. Okay, so word frequency is very important. The more word you know, the more effective your language learning could be, and the more effectively you could deliver the language both in written form and the oral form. Am I clear? Okay, lexical chunks and collocation, teaching words in context, heavy rain, strong rain. Well, lexical chunks and collocations. Well, colloquial words are very important. Colloquial words, it's not my cup of tea. If I say in English, come on, it's not my cup of tea. It's not everyone's cup of tea. It's not basically meaning that cup of tea in a lexical way. It's basically saying, yes, it's not my field, it's not in my interest. And I can say, well, it's a piece of cake. That doesn't mean that it's a piece of cake that I can eat, it's easy. Yes, the field is easy, it's in my understanding. So, it's colloquial approaches or colloquial language is very important for you to acquire second language or any particular language or any target language. That's why lexical chunks and collocations are very important to teach the students in order to make them learn that particular target language very proper way. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so incidental and intentional learning, balancing exposure or focused instruction, example using graded readers. Well, incidental and intentional learning. Some learning would take place in the incidents. Suppose, in order to learn English properly, we should teach the students some incidental. We should make students to learn some incidental English chunks. That means, how could we deal with an immigration officer? How could we deal with a shopkeeper? These things are incidental, definitely context driven. And the intentional learning is basically, well, I am learning this for each and every purpose, not very specific purpose. We can use that thing in various purposes. So intentionally. See, these things are vocabulary acquisition. These things are very important in order to acquire vocabulary. Which vocabulary we can use where and how we could use vocabulary properly, how we could learn vocabulary properly, how we could teach the students to learn the vocabularies properly. These three theories are very important. Yes, there are more theories rather than this, but these three are prominent. Okay, these three are very prominent. Let's see what happened next. Pronunciation and phonology. Well, I do not want anything to say here to the 14 batch because they know these things very, very good, very, very good. That's why whenever this slide occurs, I I make some eye contacts with some of the students, and some of them are very clever. They do not make eye contacts. They just, look down so that they could not be affected in the classroom. Okay, phonology. Okay, so jokes apart, pronunciation and phonology is very important, and in order to learn a language very properly, we have to learn exactly. So we have to learn proper pronunciation, and we have to learn how the phonology works, why we can use that particular pronunciation in their way, and how we could generate those particular pronunciation just like natives. We already have talked about that. We already have done so many things about that. Okay, but long story short, applied linguistics contributes to pronunciation pedagogy to emphasizing phonemic awareness. Phonemic awareness, well, we already have done that by doing thank you and therefore. Okay, and prosody, teaching stress, rhythm, intonation for intelligibility. Yes, in order to speak very calm and quickly, in the way that, what can I say? The natives usually speak, they use stress, rhythm, and intonation. Definitely, they use intonation. They use, if they are surprised, they use, how are you doing? And if they are not surprised, they use, how are you doing? So these things are intonation, upscale intonation, downscale intonation, those things. Well, that basically refers to the context of prosody. Okay, technological tools. Well, technological tools is for basically to teach the students phonologically very properly or very effectively the language lab tools. Okay, so we already have talked about that also. Okay, so that's the end of previous class, our recap, and so our class basically begins from here. So everyone, pen and paper on the table, please. Okay, language testing and assessment. Yes, very important. Hey, if you understand that thing very properly, so you could understand why you fail to make good marks in your exam, in your midterm and your finals. How you could make the numbers very high, okay? Oh, what's happening here? Sorry. Okay, so effective language testing requires we have to test the students. Well, while teaching, the testing definitely occurs, In order to teach properly, we have to test the students, the learners, whether they are learning it properly or not. Definitely. And there are some criteria of marking, there are criteria of questioning. So let's see, what are these? Effective language testing requires number one, validity, content, construct, and criterion validity. Well, there are so much things, validity, reliability, practicality, then washback, then many other things. But these three things are very important. Well, maybe, everyone, please listen to me very carefully. Maybe there are 7 or 8 things, but I just took first 3 things here in order to test, how we test the students. Testing and evaluation, is that a course to you? Testing and evaluation? Okay, so, I want your opinion. There are 7 or 8 things: validity, reliability, practicality, washback, then many other things. 3 or 4 things more. Should I haven't basically bring that in this slide. Should I bring those things in this slide or not? Well, there's some plus and minus things. Advantage. There are some advantages and disadvantages. Number one advantage is you will be understanding everything about testing and evaluation. This is very important. So you could be understanding, you guys could be understanding how the test occurs, which test basically examines what, how to score a good score in the examination, which examination is for testing which thing. But there's a drawback. The drawback is if I put 7 or 8 thing here, and if this question occurs in your final exam or your midterm exam, you have to write everything. I mean, you have to write 7 or 8 things. If I do not teach you, I can never ask you that question. If I teach you, I can surely ask that question. So it's up to so it's up to you. What should I do? I don't know. Well, I can do. Huh?
Please, enough and beautiful.
What do you think?
So I think for understanding, we need to know about the 7.
Well, yeah, yes, definitely,
We
yes.
shouldn't we shouldn't go into the details because we won't be able to.
No, definitely, I understand. But at least, not basically you are going to be going to detailize those things. But one thing is very important, that if I teach you that 8 thing, at least you have to mention the names in the final examinations. At least you have to name, describe at least something or give some definition to that. So at least something you should be doing. Yes, and for understanding, it's really better for you to go through those whole 7 or 8 things, because these are only 3 things, but there are more. Wait. Yes, there are at least 4 to 5 more. So what should I do? Okay, let's see. After the end of today's class, we will think it again. But first thing first, huh? So validity, content, construct, and criterion validity. That means an exam should, in order to pass the criteria of validity, an exam should be content-driven, construct-driven, and criterion-driven. That means the content of that exam should be taught first. Okay, and the construct, that means the construction of that exam, the construction of that question should be coming from the classroom. That is why I constantly saying this thing is very important for your midterm, this thing is very important for your finals. So the construction of your exam questions paper should be coming from your classroom teaching. Correct? Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and criterion validity. So I would put some criteria. Okay, I would put some criteria. Well, if you write these, I will be giving you that. These things criteria. I already have talked about that. I already say how could you do good in exam? What will make your marks lose in the exam? Haven't I? I've told you those things. Come on. Okay, so that's validity. That means in order to be an exam to be valid, these things should be followed. Okay, reliability, consistent scoring across raters and time. Well, our exam should be reliable. How? If I ask a question, no matter which examiner is examining the question, the exam scripts, your marks will be constant. Your marks will be constant. If I check your exam scripts, I'll be giving you, if I'm giving you 60 marks, okay, in total, or suppose for within 40, I give you 25 marks. If Nazmul sir is checking this particular script, he will be giving you either 24 or 25 or 26, not more or less than that. So that means no matter who is checking the script, the number is being constant or consistent. That means that does make the exam reliable. Okay, not basically just like well, I am checking the script, I'm giving you 25, and another one is checking the script and they will be giving you 35. Well, this exam, that means this exam have some problem. This exam has some problem. Okay, practicality. For example, ease of administration and feedback. Example, the IELTS test is structured around communicative competence. Task mirrors academic and real-world context. Formative assessment like peer review and portfolios also reflect applied linguistic principle. Well, practicality. Well, practicality basically means if the exam is practical or not, if the question paper is practical or not. I mean, how? That means I have given you some knowledge in the classroom, haven't I? I taught you some things in the classroom. If these things are applicable in the practical world or not, if these things are basically enhancing your skills or not, this question should be answered in the practicality. So if my classroom teaching is not reflected in the question papers, and not only in the question papers, in your exam scripts, answer papers also, then the exam could never be a practical one. Okay, and on vice versa. So, practicality, validity, reliability, practicality, some of them are washback and many other things. Okay, let's just talk about that in other time. Let's finish that first. Okay, so communicative language teaching, CLT, that's very important. CLT prioritize language use in real world context. Features include, why CLT is very important? Do you know? Because you guys have been learning, you guys have been learning English by this theory, basically, by this thing, the communicative language teaching. By this technique or this approach or this method. By this method, you were basically from very early childhood in Bangladesh or in the subcontinent also. In the whole subcontinent, we used to learn English via this method. See, communicative language teaching. Our textbooks, our exam questions, and our classroom techniques also, from the very first class 1 to class 12, from the very beginning of primary level to the HSC level, we have been dealing with this particular method. Our government, our curriculum, our syllabus, our classroom, our question papers, everything designed under this umbrella term, okay? Communicative language teachings, in order to make us communicative competent. In order to make us communicative competent. But sad but truth is we are neither competent nor communicative. But still, these things are happening. Okay, I mean, this thing is very relevant. That is why it's very important for your midterms and finals also. Please understand how communicative language teaching happens and relate to you. Is this the theory? Is this the method we're using in your class, in your primary school, in your secondary school, in your metric examination, in your intermediate examination? Just recall those memories. Okay, CLT prioritized language use in real life context. Features include authentic communication task. Yes. Haven't we learned how to write dialogue in our metric and inter examination?
Yes, sir.
The authentic communication task. That's the basically authentic communication task. Write a dialogue between two friends about buying books. What a rubbish thing. Oh my goodness. Write a dialogue between a teacher and students about midterm examination. In the examination, we are writing a dialogue about an examination. Oh my goodness. Okay, learner-centered activities. Well, learner-centered activities, this is where we lack some competence, because our classrooms are very large, so that we cannot afford the learner-centered activities in the classroom. For one teacher, within 45 minutes time frame, it's very hard to make everyone teach the language in a learner-centered classroom. Hey, and definitely there are some people like Riyadh and Chandni. They're constantly talking and disturb the teacher, so the time basically shrinking more. Okay, so learner-centered activities, basically, yes, just recall those things. Right form of verbs, fill in the blanks from right form of verbs, and articles, prepositions, yes, subject verb agreement. You have to write only the answers. You do not have to write the theories. If third person singular number occurs, then s or es will be added after the main verb. This is not something that you should be writing in the exam scripts. Shouldn't you?
No.
You just know that, and there comes he dash here write and go to. In the metric or intermediate examination, you have faced these things,
Yes, sir.
maybe some authentic or some sophisticated way, but definitely some kind of thing like this. He goes to the school. He went to school. He will go to the school. But he go to the school is not correct. So according to the structure, you basically will do the same thing. This is how learner-centered activities have been designed. So you guys have been through to this. That means you guys have been through to the CLT. Come on, you guys have been through this. So that means you guys have been through. Yes, CLT method. Thank you. Okay. Negotiation of meaning and fluency development. Example, hey, this is one important. Negotiation of meaning and fluency development. A classroom debate on climate change enhances both critical thinking and spontaneous language production. CLT is built upon sociolinguistics research that reveals how language functions in diverse contexts. Well, this is not something basically, this is some book. This is basically copied from a book. I will be giving you the real life example. Come on. Negotiation of meaning and fluency development. Yes. In the CLT method, we want the students should be more fluent than any other thing, than any other method. Because, well, sometimes in order to gain fluency, we sometimes compromise with accuracy. We do not overly impose some grammatical rules and some correctness, some monitor model. We basically ease the students' monitor model, monitoring something. Crush's monitor model, we already know that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Which model does it count in monitor model? There are 4 hypotheses. Critical. Oh my goodness, I already have talked about that in the previous slide. How could I forget that? Come on, how could you guys also forget that? Effective filter hypothesis, come on. Hey, isn't it effective filter hypothesis?
Yes.
Yes. So basically, in order to make you fluent learners or fluent speakers of English, we sometimes lower the effective filters by the teachers, haven't I? Come on.
If the effective filter is high, then we cannot speak fluently because we have more focus on the grammatical structure.
We are focusing on the grammatical structure. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. So we teacher could make the classroom, well, no matter whether you are talking in good grammatical manner or a not so good grammatical manner, just by saying that, we lower the effective filters, then we could make the students learn the fluency. So fluency over accuracy is the motto of CLT. Yes. The fluency over accuracy, yes, but after gaining the fluency, we could then impose the effective filters so that not only fluent, but the accurate learners or the accurate speakers of that particular language. See, the real life example. Okay, so that's how we conducted our classes. You guys have been through these things in your entire life, CLT, okay? These 3 things. So these are very important for your midterms and finals, and these are very self-explanatory, isn't it? Yes. Understood everything? Thank you, at least something. Let's see what happened next. TBLT, hey, TBLT is one of the most important things. TBLT is very important. TBLT, task-based language teaching. Okay, so
This is also in school life.
well, this is in the preschoolers. Everyone, please. This is basically something you have encountered in your preschool phase, in the kindergarten schools. Basically, learning by doing. Learning by doing tasks. Okay. TBLT engages learners in tasks that reflect real-world use. Pre-task, learners are introduced to vocabulary and context. Okay, task cycle, learners perform a task collaboratively. Collaboratively means? Teamwork. Yes, thank you. Okay, language focus. Teachers provide from focused instruction based on performance. Example, planning. We are budgeting for a school event using models for suggesting we could buy, we should avoid. TBLT is grounded interactionist SLA theory. Interactionist SLA theory. By whom? Jeremy Barner. Thank you. So if I could not find that thing, the name in the examination script, then you know how you guys would be suffering. You know that thing. Okay, so basically let me talk in my own language. Okay, so pre-task, task cycle, and language focus. So basically TBLT is something we should be learning by doing. Okay, so suppose we want our learners to learn that English for business purpose. Definitely English for business purpose. Okay, so English for official purpose. Okay, suppose I want my learners, I want my students to learn English for official correspondence. Hey, that's a course in our Dhaka University also, English for official correspondence. At that course, I really stood very, I gained a very good marks. Okay, so English for official correspondence. So in that particular course, I want my students to learn how to write meeting minutes, how to write official order, that means those order letters. I want my students to learn how to write order letters. What should be included, what should not be included on that order. How the language of an order letter should not be violated these norms.
So
I want.
Kind of similar course in this semester is business communication.
Business communication, okay, but I'm talking about official correspondence. I mean, order letter, the government letter, GO, order letter, and something called meeting minutes and business data analysis, those things. Okay, so please, that should be very important to you guys also, that you shall be asking your teacher, I don't know who are teaching you that thing, okay, but you should be asking your teacher, sir, should you, would you please introduce us some meeting minutes, how to write a meeting minute, how to write order letters, how to write business analysis for one company. These things. Okay, so everyone, if suppose I want my students to learn how to write a meeting minute, order letter. Okay, then pre-task. Before doing any task, I would suggest my students, hey, you have to learn these vocabularies. Number 1, order letter. Number 2, delivery date. Number 3, cash on delivery. Number 4, cash before delivery. These things. Okay, so pre-task has been done. I taught my students that these are some words that should be useful in order to understand how to write an order letter. Okay, then the task cycle. Then I would form some groups, maybe some pairs, 2, 3, 4, 5 persons group. Then I would give you the task. Come on, write an order letter to Azad Products. Write an order letter to Azad Products for 100 invitation card of wedding. 100 invitation card of wedding. Write an order letter to them. Okay, then I would guide you how to write those order letters, how to say in a professional way that please give me those things in this particular price range, that. Okay, so this is the task gone. Then the language focus. Overall, everything I would guide, or the teacher would guide you how to do the task properly by making minimum amount of errors. Okay? Yes, sir. Okay, sorry. So these things, So to the whole thing, I will be doing that particular scaffolding thing to you guys. Okay? So this is how task-based language teaching basically happens. Yes, definitely is in the preschoolers and in the kindergarten schools, we already have done those things. Yes, definitely not writing by order letters, but memorizing some poems or writing some A for apple, B for ball things. Okay, so these things should be amalgamated to our classroom and to make us understand how to write an order letter things also. Okay, so that means this thing is very universal. We could make that use in the primary stage, in the secondary stage, or in the tertiary level of education also. Understood? Okay, at least to some extent. Okay, so oh my goodness. Okay, the role of context and culture. Hey, this is very easy to you guys. The role of context and culture in order to teach the language. Okay, culture shapes language use and meaning. Language teaching must be include pragmatic norms, sociolinguistics variation, cultural reference. Definitely, pragmatic norms. What does that mean? Teaching politeness strategies and speech acts, requests, apologies. Well, in order to teach one particular language, well, I'm teaching you here English. So I have to teach how English, basically Englishmen or the Britishers or the English pragmatic norms, how they request, would you please join us? Would you please make me a cup of tea? Just like this. Not like that. Make me a cup of tea. No, just not like that. Or please make me a cup of tea. No, that should not be said. That's rude. The politeness, the politely saying is that, would you please make me a cup of tea? Just like that. Okay, so this is pragmatic norms. Then sociolinguistic variation, exploring dialects and registers. Yes, registers. Registers means the codes. Which codes? Well, this is not my cup of tea. That means it's not very easy. This is a piece of cake. Oh, come on, you are an apple pie of my eye. See, these things. These are not mere food items. Basically, these are the registers. These are the codes they use frequently. Understood? Okay, cultural reference, definitely idioms, metaphors, discourse styles. Example, teaching indirect requests in British English. Would you mind? Would you mind joining us? That means, please join us, basically. Would you mind joining us? Would you mind doing that? Would you mind having a cup of tea? Would you mind giving it down? See, this thing. Would you mind coming? Yes, see? Would you mind putting down? Thank you. So this is a cultural reference. In their culture, they used to speak in that particular manner. Clear? Okay. The role of context and culture is very important for your midterms also. Not definitely final. Okay. So technology in language teaching. Well, call. Do you know what does that mean? Call. Computer assisted language learning. Call. The language we learn from the assistance of computer. Okay? The technology in language teaching. Digital tools are revolutionizing language education. Yes, we know that. So call, computer assisted language learning, tools like Duolingo, Kahoot for gamified learning. Duolingo, we all could know the Duolingo thing. Computer assisted language learning, basically, that is. Okay, so Corpora, using platforms like Coca or BNC to analyze real usage patterns. So these are basically some websites and some platforms where we can use the language or we can learn the language from. Yes. AI and NLP tools, artificial intelligence, okay? And non-linguistic products such as Grammarly, speech-to-text tools, Google speech-to-text. I already have talked about that. Speech-to-text and AI chatbots for conversational practices. Examples, students record dialogues using AI speech tools. Students basically use AI for various things. Some of you could use the AI in the examination hall also to cheat on the exam. To cheating the exam. Oh my goodness. Those who pretend much are the most dangerous criminals of all time. Okay. So, Grammarly, speech-to-text tools, and AI chatbots for conversational practice, okay? So these things could be useful, could be proven useful for us in order to teach a language. Is that clear, everyone? We all could know that. Come on, you guys are more smarter than me, I believe. You guys could know these things very much. But CALL is computer-assisted language learning. Okay, AI is artificial intelligence. We already have talked about that. Yes, sir?
What does it mean, NLP?
NLP, come on, Google it now. See, what does that mean? Come on. Come on, do it. Come on, do it. What happened to you guys? Why you guys are so late? You, the last girl. The spectacles, yes, ma'am, please. What happened to you? No, I do not want any sorry. Come on, why should you be sorry? Is it traffic or something else? Wait. I'm traffic. What does that mean? Mr. Imon? Come on. Native language?
Practice.
Practice. So, AI, that means artificial intelligence, and NLP tools, native language practice tools. That means practicing language just like the natives. Is that clear? So, Grammarly, speech to text tools, and AI chatbots for conversational learning. We could take help from AI. We could take help from everything here is written. Is that understood? Okay, so there are some references. I took these references to make that slide, and definitely thanks after that. Yes, sir. Thank you. So that's the end of today's class. Please. Hey.